Let me explain what a layperson has heard, not from you, not from me. We've been telling the truth. A layperson has heard we did not give any money, not this 1.14 billion, to illegal aliens, housing, and emergency relief. Those fiscal year 23 and 24 numbers, I guess, are just made up, even though it's on the FEMA website. What you just said is true. There are $7 to $8 billion laying around that could be used on Air Force One in a gaggle. Mayorkas literally says, we don't have the funds. Today, Mayorkas, and I just played it before I brought you on, Matt, tells Joe Biden, who didn't know where he was, Mr. President, we have all the funds we need, we're fine. What are we supposed to make of this, Matt? If we're just regular Americans trying to make a living and support our families, who do we believe? I believe you. I think a lot of them believe me, but we just can't believe other parts of government at all because they're completely contradicting themselves day to day.
Yeah, in this particular case, at that particular agency, you don't have a secretary you can trust. You don't have a lot of senior leadership you can trust. So the Inspector General's office there is a good place to go for the accurate information.
Yes.
They've been the ones giving the accurate border information. They've uncovered a lot of the corruption in that agency. And so when the Inspector General says that you're sitting on a mountain of cash that by virtue of mismanagement you've just allowed to sit in the coffers and not be used for its intended purpose, that's very compelling to me.
Isn't the House always the trigger for the funding, though? Can you guys not go in and say, hey, use this money?
Well, the problem is for the last 30 years, as you know, we've largely been governed by continuing resolution
Yes.
and omnibus spending bill. So it's one big up or down vote on all of it. What we've talked to your audience about for years now is the need for single subject bills. So just imagine a time when we say, okay, this is the 4 days when Congress is going to focus on the FEMA budget.
Yes.
And we're going to really roll up our sleeves and say what here is working, what's not, what grants are 8 years old that have no real prospect of occurring. How do we tailor those programs? But the special interests don't want it that way because what they really want is Congress to lay out the vaguest possible terms so that everything just becomes a big slush fund.
Wow.
And that slush fund factor isn't helping the people in North Carolina right now at all. And what's constraining them is, I think, a pretty corrupt system. We've also had whistleblowers from FEMA and from the National Guard reach out to my office to say, Congressman, we were mobilized, we were sent to impacted areas, and then we were never given orders on what to do. We were never integrated into the efforts by local communities to provide food or water or to assist in logistics for repowering some of these areas where people are still just getting connected to power. So that is so frustrating when you've got Americans that were standing on their roofs waiting for help.
Yes.
And you had guardsmen willing to help them staged. And just because this Biden-Harris group can't really get their act together, we suffer.